Hola, Jessica here. I am going to show you how I easily put up these floating shelves. Now, they aren't true floating shelves, so if you are looking for true floating shelves, the L brackets are technically visible on here, but since you want to put up decor or have need for some storage, they get hidden very easily, which is why I chose this option. As you can see, I'm missing a tissue box right here because my little one has a running nose. Sorry, but even with the missing item on that shelf, you still can't see any of the L brackets. And I did want to go for a minimalist fill on this one, so I only did 2 shelves versus 3, but that is just a personal preference, and there would have been room for 3, but I just felt like the bathroom that we're in is actually pretty small and I didn't want to cramp it up. So I ended up really loving these shelves because of this alone. Now sometimes I make it even a higher stack and just like max it out. But I love it because my husband knows where to find the toilet paper. He doesn't ask me for it. He doesn't like last minute, hey, get me some toilet paper. So that alone is great. And it frees up space in the bathrooms upstairs. So we just kind of stack it in this one. It's a different verses, so it's just something people and guests in our house will know our faith and can see some scriptures for inspiration, because you know that's what my YouTube is about, is inspiration. And those are pretty practical. They're Q-tips and flossers. So just giving you a quick kind of look at the bathroom. Sorry, I'm on my phone. My camera's kind of broken right now. So that's just very minimalist. I can actually put a plant here, but I'm still doing research because I'm horrible at keeping plants alive. First thing I did was paint the walls. You want to do this before you actually start on your floating shelves. Make sure you do your prep work, cover everything you don't want to get any paint on. It just makes life easier. Wash your walls, dry your walls, paint your walls. I got blue painter's tape from the Dollar Tree and I laid it out so that I can measure my distance. And then I marked on the painter's tape like how wide I wanted my shelves. Then I headed to Home Depot and I found this pine. Measure twice and then cut. You can totally go old school and just use a hand saw. After you're done hand sawing it, you can hand sand it. This fancy saw, thanks to the Padre, is not required. I use an L bracket to hold up my floating shelves, but make sure you get the proper weighted L bracket. I then marked the width of the L bracket and the depth of the L bracket so that it'll be flush. Using a handsaw, I then cut just a ton of vertical lines, but staying all within the lines that I had marked on the wood. Side note, I only did this for the bottom shelf and not for the top shelf. Next, I used a hammer and flathead screwdriver, and I just lined up the screwdriver where my marks were on the top part of the wood, and then I tapped the hammer down on the screwdriver and it knocked loose all of those vertical cuts that I made. Then using a wood file, I sanded down the wood so that it was smooth, but if you don't have a wood file, you definitely can use sandpaper. I would start with like a 60 or 80 and then work my way up to about 180, 300 grit sandpaper to get it smooth. Here you can see why it's important to have it flush so it's not pushing the shelf off of the wall. If you need to seal it, if it's going to be in a bathroom or area where water's going to be, then definitely clean it up and now would be the time to seal it. I only put 1 seal on this one because it's going to be in a half bath. After the seal has dried, you're then going to screw the L bracket to the bottom of the shelf and make sure your screws are long enough to go through the L bracket and halfway through the shelf but not penetrate through the top of the shelf. I lined up my shelf with the top of the painter's tape. I wanted to find where I needed to pre-drill because I didn't have a stud available. If you have a stud in your wall available, then definitely screw into the stud. You can still use a drywall anchor in a stud as well. You just need to pre-drill. So mark where you need to pre-drill. Then using a rubber mallet or a rubber hammer, you're going to tap in the drywall anchors and then screw. For the top shelf, I actually screwed the L bracket on the top part of the shelf and then into the wall. And I did this so that if you're sitting down on the toilet, it won't be as obvious if they happen to look up and see how the shelves are floating. Another thing I did to disguise the L brackets was paint the L bracket part that was on the wall the same color as the wall, just to not draw attention to it. And then the last thing to cover up the L brackets so that they look like floating shelves is to put decorative and useful items on there, which is the whole point of you kind of wanting the shelves to begin with. I definitely was able to hide the L brackets very well by just placing things in front of it. A last little tidbit, if you're worried about anything just sliding off of your shelf, I use this Quake Hold, and it's just really supposed to hold things down when you have them on display, especially like precious things like glass and ceramics. So you just kind of mold it, get it warm in your hand and keep molding it, and then I just pressed it on the wood and pressed it down on the shelf and then put some on the wall side and pressed it against the wall, and that thing has not moved. So another little cute decal that I ordered from the lady who made the wood plaque that I just showed you with the Quake Hold, and I just thought it was a really cute idea to like kind of mark the door as an indicator that our guests would use. I hope I inspired you to do your own floating shelves, even if they're easy like this. Please let me know if you do. I really do enjoy hearing that. Don't forget to thumb it, sub it, speak it, and spread it. God bless. Next time. Kara, say cheese.
Cheese.
What are you doing? What are you doing with those?